All right, we are live. So today we're going to be talking about the roadmap, and so I'll get into that in a little bit here. But first, let me share the location. 1 second. All right, just dropping the link into the announcement channels, and we'll get started. All right, got confirmation that the sound's good. Thank you, nurses. Yeah, got a little bit of a week's worth of a beard growing here. So yeah, it's not gonna stay, that's for sure. But we'll a little bit every once in a while is fine. So plan for today: go through the roadmap, answer some of the questions, talk about the future schedule in terms of content that's coming out, and talk about some of the holiday schedule. Yeah, brick walls falling. There's definitely a few holes in it there, but we'll see if we can get. There's a little bit of work left to do here to get our studio room all dialed. So give people a couple more minutes to get in, and then we'll talk through the roadmap first, talk through some questions, and then talk about what the schedule is. How's everyone's couple of weeks been? I guess it's been almost a month since the last time I did the AMA. Angelo the Narcissus and Catherine were doing it in my absence for the last few AMAs, which was great. All right, cool. So we'll get one more minute, and then we'll get started. All right, so yeah, we'll get started. Answer some questions that have come up in Telegram since the roadmap got shared. Talk about what the schedule is going to look like in 2020 in terms of communication, and what to expect from us, and then talk about the holiday schedule and when everyone will be when you'll be able to get stuff. Election day in the UK, yes, always exciting, especially when my limited understanding, but especially when Brexit's on the table. Or maybe on the table, maybe not on the table. I don't know. You guys got some crazy politics going on. Okay, so 2019 goals. So what were the 2019 goals? If everyone hasn't had the chance to see the roadmap post, they should take a look. It's at the AdBank Medium blog. So 2019 goals were Blade adoption, pilots, token utility through use of our ad networks. How did we do against those goals? So number one goal of Blade users did great. We had an internal goal of 10,000 users, blew through that, achieved 25,000 users, have a goal now set for in 2020 of getting to 100,000 installs. I think we're going to be able to achieve that. Looking forward to that. Some of the challenges that we ran into in 2019 that we've talked about in the past. So certainly the crypto alt market continued not to regain attention. And as a result of that, the advertising dollars continue to not be there in the kind of crypto market, especially specifically crypto altcoin market. Shortly after we launched Blade, we gained some initial traction, and then had Chrome delist us. We got back in. That was great. The biggest challenge that we've had in 2019, and one of the opportunities that is in front of us now as a result of the challenge, was the effective CPM that we were able to charge to advertisers has been way too small. way below what we were expecting. And so what this means is the users that we're getting, when we're advertising to them, we're simply not making the advertisers money by showing ads to our current user base. That's a problem. If we can't charge an effective CPM to the people that are using Blade, then we can't sort of get that money, purchase tokens on the exchange, and have it cycling through the ecosystem the way that we intended it to. And so if these ads that we're showing aren't profitable to the advertisers showing them, then the system doesn't work. And right now, that is a significant challenge where we have a large chunk of our audience just not able to be monetized through ads based primarily on their location. So when you have, the CPM is highly based upon geography. And so advertising to someone from the United States or the UK, or somewhere else, that can be a lot more profitable, a lot more money gets through the system that way. Some countries, the amount that advertisers will pay to show ads to them are not as high, and we're seeing why that is in the performance campaigns as well. So that's one of the kind of bigger challenges that we faced in 2019. eSig Media had a strong headwind with some of the kind of vaping health uncertainties in the US. That has cleared up for the most part in terms of digital advertising spend is certainly back in that industry, and that sort of the health concerns are more understood than they were for a couple months there in sort of middle to tail end of the year. So overall, from a tech standpoint, significant efforts were achieved with the launch and then relaunch of Blade, finding product market fit from users, and then the next domino of getting advertisers to advertise profitably has been currently the stumbling block. And that's what we've got to knock down now. Get through the tech, get through the users, and now we just got to knock down the next domino. And that's what's coming up in 2020. So if we look at 2020, what to expect. So primarily our focus is going to be continuing to be on the face of users, continuing the strong acquisition growth, going from 5,000 users at the start of Q4-ish to now 25,000 users. Phenomenal growth, great growth. The marketing initiatives to attract users have been working, and we're going to keep pushing on that lever. So continued growth, push us to hit the goal of 100,000 users, and then on top of that, the other piece to our goal, to the objective of that we kind of need to mesh everything together to have the ecosystem work, is to get our effective CPM over 250. So a lot of things come, if we get 100,000 users at a 250 effective CPM, the models all get pretty attractive in terms of what it means to the community, in terms of the tokens being purchased on the exchange versus number of users that end up holding tokens. The ecosystem really starts to function the way that it needs to around kind of that threshold. And so what are some of the key results that we're going to be pushing for in order to achieve a CPM of 250? So we've got a significant user base. So one of those is going to be the task marketplace. And so this is going to look a little bit like a decentralized Mechanical Turks. So if you're not familiar with what Mechanical Turks is, it's a marketplace where people can pay for simple tasks to be completed. Fill out this form, install this app, test this thing, provide feedback here. So the smaller the task, it's like Fiverr, but smaller tasks. And so what we can do we have a significant user base, the ability to pay those users efficiently with adbank token and advertisers that need tasks done. And so the ecosystem will work the exact same way as an ad, but with the conversion being tracked as a task being completed. And so that's what we're going to be testing out at the start of kind of Q1 of 2020, is launching a unique marketplace that will be first of its kind in terms of the distribution and efficiency of paying people to do exceptionally small tasks. We have an extremely engaged audience right now, where we have, in terms of both the email list of the KYC verified users, we have an open rate of 70%. We have a click-through rate on those emails of, I think it was like 35-40%, which are phenomenal numbers in terms of engagement. So we have a significant, quickly growing user base, highly engaged in terms of executing tasks and to ensure that they receive their tokens. And we have the ability to deliver a message to them via Blade. And so now we just need to add on an extra layer of, here's what you can do to earn even more crypto, and that's what our users are asking for. So that's what we're going to be rolling out, and we're going to be testing that to then, with 90% of the infrastructure needed to execute that is in place, and then the next step is to do a test to see how the market responds to that offering, and then after that we'll sort of roll out the rest of the development roadmap. What this means to the token and the token ecosystem is it's a perfect fit with what we're already doing, with how the ecosystem is already built. So we have advertisers coming in to now ask for tasks to be completed, and then we have the user of Blade completing those tasks and receiving rewards for completing those tasks. So that's what's coming next. Additional key result to help bolster the effective CPM is sort of a pet project from Catherine. So because of the way that we can demonstrate, or because of the way we can show ads, we can do some unique things where we can have a Easter egg hunt through the creative that people see when they're using Blade, and when they can put together enough pieces, they can be receiving a reward. So that kind of engagement and looking for ads that are related to that brand to help them participate in that Easter egg hunt is going to be a world's first type of ad creative case study. Catherine will come up with a better name for it here once we launch it, but that's going to be happening as well. New adbank website. So Blade is the B2C offering, the business to consumer offering, with adbank and the digital ad platform that connects advertisers and publishers together is the B2B offering. And so we're going to be having a new branding coming out around adbank, which will help sort of differentiate the B2C to the B2B offering while staying kind of connected to the original brand. So those are the three key results that we're after to achieve our objective of an effective CPM of over 250. Other key areas, so continuing on tech, consistent with kind of what we've just discussed. Big year in 2019 for tech, with everything around Blade launching. The dashboard became live. Great to see the hockey stick growth. Minimal changes to the team through 2019. A few changes right at the start, but then been fairly stable since, and then we project that to continue. Runway model continues out to well into 2021, with still significant opportunity to see that turn around to be increasing resources to throw at accelerating development as soon as we get the CPM piece solved. We've solved the tech, we've solved the users. Now we just got to solve the CPM and how to monetize the impressions. And once we can solve that, then the system is really humming. So we've talked about some of the Blade push that's going to be happening. The AI development, so I know a lot of questions around the AI development. Still waiting on feedback from the initial patent submission and then we'll be taking the next steps after that. It's built, deployed on sitting on the AWS servers, and just ready to have some data to chew on. So I think that covers the majority of the roadmap. And happy to answer any questions. So please drop your questions in, and I'll go answer some questions now from the community leading up to this AMA. So first questions were around patent. So what actions are being taken to funding, and when do we expect to hear more? So a couple opportunities around funding. There's two programs in Canada. One's called IRAP, one's called SHRED. One is you get money in advance. One is you retroactively get money from the government for doing scientific research and exploratory development work. So both of those are being pursued. And when do you expect to hear more? It's tough to tell. We do expect to hear something this year regarding the patent from the U.S. Patent Office. Do we present Blade to the kind of advertisers that we're doing pilots with? So yes, feedback to date has been too small from an impression standpoint to get really interesting. And then we've been pursuing where people are, who are currently advertising to the people that we currently have as users. And so you can see that on sites like CoinMarketCap or other bigger kind of crypto focused sites. Who's currently advertising there? They clearly want to reach this audience. That's been the main channel of identifying advertisers to talk to that are the most interested. What's the reason for the target of 100,000 users? So initial target was 10,000 users at a $10 CPM. That was kind of some of the magic numbers. That has, we've blown past the install number, and we're way below on the monetization number. And so we've just basically flipped those around, and the model in terms of the pressure that gets pushed onto the market becomes significant, where the buy pressure in terms of the number of advertisers who are coming on board to buy tokens makes it get interesting for all of us. So what happened with staking? So we're hoping to look at what would the ability be for people to store ADB in their wallet and get a proportional reward based on that. That's taken a back seat now to, we have sort of a problem to solve before that in terms of getting people more tokens for seeing ads or doing tasks so that we can get more economic activity into the ecosystem. So staking, let's say on hold, because it's not yet the problem to solve. So when is adbank planning to make profit? So like I've said all along, the goal is not, for adbank to make profit. The goal is to get to infinite runway and then accelerate the development efforts. And so that's currently the focus. And if we can solve the CPM issue in 2020, then the runway discussion will go away. Okay, so Ant dropped in a few questions, so we'll touch on those. Got it. So yeah, we are. And are you talking in terms of the sign-up bonuses, or are you talking in terms of the overall ecosystem with how sort of the fundamentals of how Blade works with every dollar that comes into the ecosystem, where that dollar flows out to? Okay, perfect. Yeah. So to kind of recap, how does the system work right now? And and how does it work, and how will it continue to work? And so if advertiser comes on board, they go to the exchange, or we facilitate those dollars going to the exchange to purchase ADB. That ADB comes in to fund their campaign, and then that campaign, when a user views an ad, it gets split into three ways. One third basically going to the user, one third going to the publisher, and one third going to adbank for facilitating that that transaction to take place. So that's how basically every dollar that comes in, a third gets split to go to thousands of users that will have seen the ads, and then a third goes to adbank, and a third goes to the publisher for them to then later come and claim. Yeah, and so why has there been such a focus on Blade? And I think if probably if someone was playing a drinking game around every time I said ecosystem in this or Blade in this this annual update, they'd be in the bag. But so why do we care about why are we so focused on Blade? And it's the tool that we have where we can sort of artificially, not even artificially, but force start this ecosystem of advertising dollars coming in. Every time that advertising dollar comes into the ecosystem, it gets split into tiny pieces to go out to a bunch of users. Each of those users become small holders who may or may not choose to hold or not hold, but the more it gets spread, the slower the velocity of those tokens going back through that system, and then a bunch go to publishers who then don't immediately cash in. And so if we can continue that growth trajectory that we're on, and we keep splitting every dollar that comes into the ecosystem into tiny little pieces held by thousands of users, and a third into the publishers and a third into adbank, then the pressure that it gets exerted on the exchange is significant. That how does that play out? I'm limited in what I can share and not share, but Blade is the mechanism. A very few projects have an ecosystem that, when it's functioning, puts in place, and certainly through true utility. And adbank and Blade specifically is one that sort of doesn't do anything artificial to put on that pressure, but a growing ecosystem will absolutely put on pressure that will have interesting things happen. And again, I wish I could be more specific about how those numbers all play out, but we can see what if we can get to 100,000 users at $2.50 effective CPM. We're in a very good shape. Mobile Blade, it's a focus. We're constantly looking at our opportunities on how we can have a better mobile solution. The challenge, it's not an easy. Through ads, it's not a very easy system to solve. Through the task marketplace, it's quite a bit easier to solve. And so the mobile solution tied to Blade showing ads, it is probably questionable on what we're going to see in 2020, depending on how the task marketplace test goes out. It gets quite a bit more interesting. And always appreciate when you kind of simplify my chaos. So 2020 is definitely about improving CPM, it's absolutely the next domino to fall. I think we've done a phenomenal job of getting, the team has done a phenomenal job of getting the tech solved, the user solved, and now we just got to get the monetization solved, and then off we go. And yeah, infinite runway. Yeah, we will not, Mike. I do not believe by the end of 2020 we will still be talking about a burn and a runway. We'll be talking about what the kind of reinvestment and growth will look like in development. If it's still a runway discussion in 2020, then we will have not achieved what our goals are for 2020. Okay, let's talk schedule. So keep dropping in any questions if you have any. So what to expect in 2020? So we've seen a bit of a drop off in AMA participation. Nice to see a bit of a pickup here, and because of that, we're going to be spreading out the AMAs. So we're going to be going to quarterly significant update, and so kind of falling in line with what people are used to from larger companies in terms of quarterly updates, and we'll be doing an AMA to go with each of those, and then we'll be doing a blog post monthly, at least one monthly with an email update at least monthly, and then additional blogs and AMAs as needed, but that'll be kind of the base schedule. And then in terms of holiday schedule coming up, so from December 23rd to January 6th, the team will be on reduced hours for the holidays. So expect kind of, we'll still be covering, but expect kind of a 48-hour response time on questions. And then certainly we'll have some blackout days around the 25th, 26th, 31st, and 1st. So expect those to be a little bit quieter days. Hopefully for everyone to enjoy some time, but that's what the holiday schedule will look like with the adbank team. Yeah, I believe it, Ant. Okay, awesome. Well, Ant, appreciate Ant writing all the comments. Anyone else have any questions? Okay, awesome. Well, this is a longer one, so hopefully, and I appreciate everyone sticking around for the whole thing, and appreciate. I think there's been lots of new people coming to the community, which is phenomenal. That's what we want, and there's been a lot of people helping out with answering questions. So, thank you to the community, TOB, Ant, thank you guys, and for anyone on the team watching, it's been a big year in terms of stuff that's been accomplished and a lot of stuff for us to get done in 2020. So appreciate everyone's hard work that are on the team, and thank you guys to the community. All right, take care. See you guys soon.